back to Royalty Soaps. This beautiful face right here is that of my husband, Caleb. He appears occasionally when I drag him into frame. He's a shy guy, but we'll ask him some questions to get this video started.
But first, I have a few questions of my own.
Oh, well then, proceed.
I've got a peach crayon here.
Hold on, how did you say that? A peach what?
Crayon.
Okay, a peach crayon.
Do you think it smells good?
No.
Got a wild strawberry. You think it tastes good? I got a salmon here. Does this sound like salmon to you?
Have you finished all your questions?
Yep.
Well, that had nothing to do with today's video. Today we are making watermelon candy soap. Now, I'm sure that many a soap maker has done a watermelon soap, but mine is special because I'm putting it on the internet and showing you how.
This one, it's mauve. Can you guess what the name of it is? Did I already show it to you?
No.
Guess what it is?
Marvel melon?
It's marvelous.
Well, I think we've dilly-dallied long enough for the intro. This is a really great soap. It smells really good. The fragrance is really strong. It's sort of a classic as far as cold processed soaps go. So we really hope you guys enjoyed. And let's get to it. We are going to begin by pouring our lye water solution into our oils. Now, what is lye water solution, you may be wondering? Well, it is simply sodium hydroxide mixed with distilled water, and it has sat in this container with the lid on overnight, so it's now at room temperature. But it gets very hot when you mix it all together if you're working with just the water and the lye. However, you can use ice cubes and that will significantly reduce the heat. Now, using my stick blender, I'm going to turn it on low and I'm going to blend up both solutions until everything is completely bonded together and we have reached what soap makers call a light trace. Now that our mixture is blended up, I'm gonna get all the rest of the little liquid bits off of my stick blender, set it off to the side, and we're going to pour off into these small containers what will be our rind colors. And then the majority of the soap will be red in this container. So in these two containers, we're gonna have two different colored greens to sort of mimic a watermelon rind. And then in this container, we're gonna have the white, which is always like the little go-between spot between the rind and the juicy fruit. I'm gonna pour this out of the corner of my bucket here. That's another reason why I like these buckets that I got from Target. They're just regular old Sterilite buckets, but I like the pointy corners because it makes pouring a lot easier. Let's get us some greens going. So we're gonna be using New Leaf Green Mica and Green Vibrance Mica. Both of these are from Nurture Soap. And contrary to what other YouTube DIYs you may have seen, you cannot just throw any color that you find willy-nilly into soap. You cannot use crayons and you cannot just use food-safe dyes. You actually have to get a colorant powder or liquid that is created for soap making. For the white, I have some titanium dioxide mixed with water, so I'm gonna pour that in over here. And for the pinky red watermelon color, I have some Cosmic Carolyn Mica from TKB Trading and some really red mica from Nurture Soap. Also into the red bucket, I'm going to add some organic fair trade blueberry seeds. I prefer to use blueberry seeds and seeds about this size in my soap instead of poppy seeds. I just think poppy seeds are a bit too abrasive for my own personal taste. Using a smaller seed is less scratchy. Now that all the powder colorants and liquid colorant have been added into our containers, we can start blending them on low. the colors have been blended in nicely. Man, these colors make me so happy. So I'm gonna set the large tub off to the side, and I'm gonna set the white rind color off to the side. And we're gonna first start by adding our fragrance oil to these two. The fragrance oil I am using today is pink watermelon. By Nature's Garden Candles, this is the only watermelon scent I have found that hasn't turned my soap into soap on a stick. As you can see on the top here, it does rice a little bit, but that's easily stick blended out. Cool, so now that they've all been blended, let's start pouring into our large slab mold. I'm going to begin by making smaller lines across the soap, just like this, because I think it makes the watermelon rind effect a little more realistic. Because watermelon rinds are, they kind of have lines on them where the light green and the dark green meet, and so that's how I like to achieve that kind of faux pattern here in my soap, is making lots of little thin lines. This fragrance oil does thicken up a little bit, so you do need to move rather quickly. I wouldn't recommend any complicated swirls, but this is a pretty easy design, and because it sets up so quickly, I can do all the layers really fast and I don't have to worry about them hardening up and stuff, so I actually kind of like it. I got a scrapey out my container, make sure that I don't have any left in there. Okie dokie, so now I'm gonna tap these molds down on the ground to make sure that the surface is nice and level. It doesn't have to be 100% flat. I just wanted to make sure that there's soap in all four corners. I've already added the fragrance oil into my white, so just to break the fall a little, I'm gonna hold my spatula pretty close. And I'm trying to pour rather fast, again, because it has a tendency to thicken, and titanium dioxide sort of thickens up your soap batter, so I like to get it all in as fast as I can. Make sure every single bar gets some white, and then I can use my spatula to sort of maneuver the batter around a little bit. Scraped that out, so now I'm gonna tap this on the ground. And now it is time to add the watermelon. So I'm gonna start by pouring onto one side very slowly. It is already quite hard, so I don't have to worry about breaking the fall of that layer right there. You can see I'm pouring straight onto it and it is not budging. I'm just gonna keep going back and forth, letting this spill and kind of avalanche, as it were, soap avalanche onto the rest of the mold here. And now that it's completely covered, I can move my soap batter around in a bit of a circle, dump it all out there, and before I scrape out my container, I'm gonna tap this down to make sure it gets even in my mold. Oh, and it's really heavy. Now, as I scrape out my container, I will answer the question you guys are all secretly asking in your head. Katie, how did you get so strong? How are you able to lift so much soap with so little effort? Well, the answer is really quite simple. I am the biological byproduct of a college cheerleader and a college and high school baseball and football player. So naturally, they gave all of their athletic genes to me. I've scraped that out pretty dandy, so I'm gonna just bounce this top here, make sure it's all relatively level, but I'm gonna texture it anyway, so I'm not worried about it like looking completely flat. I just wanna make sure that no bar is like way bigger than all the other ones. Now somebody, ooh, let me turn this around. Somebody has taken my spoon from around here. It's probably me. So I'm going to make do with this tablespoon right here, and I'm just gonna start texturing the top. I'm essentially just trying to make it look whipped and delicious and just delightful. Maybe like a sorbet or a gelato, something that has Lots of creamy texture and looks kind of edible. This is a watermelon candy soap after all, so I want it to look really scrumptious. Marvelous. And now that the top has been textured, I'm gonna take a few more of the blueberry seeds. We're gonna sprinkle those on top for a little bit of a color differentiation, little bit of texture. I'm also going to add a little bit of white bio glitter right here on top. Pretty non-invasive, and a few spritzes of snowflake sparkle mica. This really helps bring out the dimension of the little soap texturing we did right on top. A few spritzes with rubbing alcohol to help avoid any sort of soda ashing that may or may not happen on top. I rarely get them with my recipe, but better safe than sorry. And voila, we have the watermelon candy soap. Here's a little close-up of the wet soap in the mold. It really does look so delicious, and the fragrance is very potent. Very much smells like a Jolly Rancher candy. So good. So I will be back to split the slab into loaves and then cut the loaves into bars in 18 to 24 hours. I'll bring you guys to see it as well after this quick commercial break. We are back the next day to cut the watermelon slab soap. So normally this is how I would cut a bar, but because there are little embellishments on top, I'm gonna turn it on its side like this so that all of the pretty things on top don't pull through with the wires and make some unsightly marks on the inside. So I'm gonna line it up. There's gonna be a little bit extra on this side, and then there's gonna be a small bar that I will chop up and make into artisan soap samples. So now I'm just gonna press gently on my multi-bar cutter. Gonna remove the little piece on the side and the sample bar. And then this is what it looks like on the inside. So up close we have the pinky red fleshy part of the watermelon, then the white line, and then of course the rind here on the bottom. And those blueberry seeds are wonderfully obvious. If you don't put enough, you won't see that many. And it just doesn't look as nice. So for this batch, I put about 2 tablespoons, and that's what it looks like. The question of the day is a super simple one. Do you like the smell of watermelon? I know there are some people out there who don't like the taste of it, but still like the way it smells in like a candle or a wax melt. So let me know by clicking the I in the upper right hand corner of the screen and casting your vote. Also, this is what it looks like on the top of the bar. You can see that white glitter made sort of a shiny layer there, but it's not so obvious that it's overwhelming or gaudy. And the smell is amazing, you guys. It's really scrumptious. Smelling up my whole room with the watermelon. I'm gonna cut up the last 3 loaves and then off these go to the curing racks. They will be available on August 6th at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. RoyaltySoaps.com. We hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Leave us a comment down below. And don't forget to answer the question of the day, which is, do you like the smell of watermelon? We were talking about how some people like the smell of watermelon but don't actually like the taste of it. I think you're one of them. Don't you like the smell of it but you don't actually like to eat it? Yep.
Not much to say. Yes. Click the I on the upper right hand corner of your screen to vote on this poll. Do you like the smell more than the taste of watermelon?
So until next time, we hope you have an absolutely royal day. Do something for yourself today, like
mispronounce words on purpose. My word is crayon.
And we will see you guys Wednesday. Bye. Meow.